This podcast is brought to you by Infinite Resources, a local staffing agency connecting diverse job candidates in central Iowa companies.
Amplified.
So that was kind of my first life. I've had many lives.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Like that's how it is, right?
Uh-huh.
You have different lives.
Yep.
That's the only way to explain it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we used to run a music festival.
Oh.
Yeah, from 2012 to 2019.
I remember you telling me this.
The War Music Festival.
Yes.
And now that we look back, I mean, it was
That's
a full-blown, one full day with like 7 to 10 acts and getting people from bands from Mexico, the East Coast, West Coast, Colombia. And the whole day would be just music, Latin music. And now we look back and it looks like ancient.
Yeah, ancient history,
right?
Yeah.
So it's that's kind of basically the basic way to see it, right? Like that was one chapter of
your
my
life. Yeah.
So you had a ballerina.
Yeah. But isn't it neat how all the chapters intertwine, though? They're all kind of related. You can apply a lot of what you learn to everything else. Like, I feel like things intertwine so easily, and you can apply the things you learn to something totally different, which is kind of cool.
Some of the stuff that you might have learned, tell me if I'm too loud, by the way. In your ballerina, do you feel like somehow it shows up in some of this?
1,000,000%, especially in this new chapter as chamber leader, because we're on stage all the time because we produce so many events. Yeah. And so you kind of have to know how to think on your feet, because there's always going to be some sort of problem or something's going to happen that you didn't expect. Yeah. So you have to just know the show must go on no matter what. And so you just have to be really nimble and just stay calm. Don't panic. And things are going to be fine. It's going to be okay. But I think also just being on stage, speaking, stage presence, working with others, working with a group, working with a team. Oh my gosh,
that comes from like ballerina.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Tom and I actually just talked about this yesterday because, he's a great singer, and he's a great singer. Yes, he's an amazing singer. Whoa. I know you may not.
I'm learning so much right now.
And he's been in musical theater, and so we both really talked about how that musical theater, the arts background, has been really helpful for us in business and our careers. Phenomenally helpful.
Yeah, because you guys have like over 100 events a year, right?
It's 150 events. Yes. I counted them one day. So
that's wild. I'm always curious of like, I know I've had this conversation with Tom before, where I'm like, how do you do this? Yeah. How do you do this day in and day out, event after event after event? I thought I had it in me, but I'm like, I guess I have the little bit of a luxury to like step back a little bit and like not go to the events. But how do you keep that energy?
It's a great question. Me personally, I always say I was born excited. So I literally came out of my mom's womb, and my parents were like, whoa, what is happening right now? Like, this girl is, she is wild. And so literally people meet me, they're like, is she really genuinely this positive and this excited? Okay. And that is just how I was born. So I've always
you've been an energetic
always an abundance of energy, always a big, like, let's do everything, big innovation mindset. But not everybody's like that, though. And so as a leader, you have to understand, okay, this is how I am, but that maybe is not how somebody else is that is in the room with me, right? So you have to be considerate, conscious of that. And I'm really actually trying really hard to be very self-aware, because, I can get so excited.
I see,
and then others are like, sounds great, Katherine, but let's hold off, And I appreciate my team because they know me so well and I know them so well. They can literally say to me, I like that idea. Let's think about that maybe in a year, or, let's do that in a couple months, but not right now. Yeah. So I love that we can be really upfront and frank and honest and open with each other to help each other, grow, be better, but also for everybody's mental health, because we don't want to do literally at all, even though we are doing a lot of great things, but, we have to say no to stuff. We just have to. So
sometimes I think we think that people should be like us, right?
Exactly.
That's a mistake that. What do you think one of the biggest mistakes a CEO or a leader can make?
Ooh, not listening to your team.
Okay.
I think not really listening to your team and giving them what they need as individuals instead of thinking of them as a collective. You know, they're all individuals. They're all very different personalities, different things they're going through in their life. So you have to meet them where they are, whatever it is, whatever they're going through. So I think, that listening and just being quiet and saying, how are you doing? How can I help? Whatever it is, personally, professionally, I'm here to support you.
And we were just talking that like you've had different, lives and chapters, and you've been in sales, so you're an expert in sales. You're running the West Des Moines Chamber, so officially, Katherine Harrington, thank you for joining me. And we met each other, I think, almost 3 years ago, I think. And we've done some projects together.
Yes, we have.
Some won the Latino Trade Network, and I've been involved in the West Des Moines Chamber and the events that you've had. So there's a lot that I want to kind of crunch in the next 30 minutes. So
all right,
I like to take advantage and learn as we're doing this. So I'm going to ask you a lot of tips.
Okay.
But if you don't mind, a lot of people know you here in the business community, but tell us a little bit about you and about the West Des Moines Chamber and what kind of work you guys do.
Okay. Long story, but really short. I was formerly a professional ballerina, left home at 14, lived in 10 major cities across America as a ballerina, but also in publishing. So I've always been in publishing or ballerina-ing. So those were my two things that I always really relied on in my life. And I decided to kind of hang up my ballet shoes, wasn't making a lot of money. I was in New York City at the time, doing some work with Alvin Ailey, decided to go to college, went to college, University of Illinois, and then my publishing career kind of took off after that. Creighton Chicago business. I sold computers for a little bit in Detroit with Zenith Data Systems. Moved to San Diego, worked with the San Diego Business Journal, started my own magazine called The T Sector for CEOs in the tech space. Mm-hmm. And then 9/11 happened. Boom. We had to lay off 23 employees after 9/11. Just the bottom fell out of the tech market. This was the dot-com boom and bust back in the dot-com days, the frenzy days. And my second husband moved me here to Des Moines. And so I kind of cried the whole way. I knew nobody in Des Moines. And, eager to learn and meet people, but I knew nothing about Des Moines. And this was when Jordan Creek Mall wasn't even around yet. Right. The city was very, very different at this time. This was about 21, 22 years ago, I think. I got to figure that out exactly. But I actually called Connie Weimer and sent her an email, too, and said, hey, I'd love to work for your organization. And she saw my resume and she said, wow, you've got a lot of great experience in publishing, but I don't have any openings for you, Katherine. And I said, darn. She goes, but I do have a desk and a phone. What can you do with a desk and a phone? Yeah. And I said, Connie, I can do a lot with a desk and a phone. Yeah. So she gave me a cube and a desk and a phone, and I was there for 15 years, left as director of innovation, helped to start their Innovation Iowa line of publishing, digital products. And then I was tapped for the Chamber World. So I've been there for 4.5 years.
Right.
And
the pandemic, right? 2020?
Yes. My first day was April Fool's Day of 2020.
Oh, wow.
Which was interesting.
Yeah.
Things were starting to shut down. It was a wild, crazy time. Nobody knew what was going on. And I was really excited about the Chamber, but not knowing pandemic world, not really even being in the world at all. It was a little scary for me.
Yeah.
We had one employee and myself, Kara Matheson and myself. That's where we started from, which is crazy. And now we have 7 employees. So we've done a lot of growing over the 4.5 years. But I'm a big innovator. Nothing seems to scare me. I'm not scared of taking risks. I love actually risk taking because I think you can't do big things unless you're taking big risks and growing the way you see that's prudent for your organization. So we just started hiring people and grew like crazy. crazy. And instead of retracting during the pandemic, we actually doubled down and we doubled all of our programming. We created a bunch of new events on Zoom. It was easy. I mean, you're on Zoom. It's so easy. You just flip the switch and boom, you know, you promote and flip the switch. I mean, how easy. So we had like 3 events a week on Zoom, just different things to help small business owners, minority business owners. And we really grew from there because we were like, you know, people knew about the West Des Moines Chamber, but the more you're doing stuff, people are paying attention. And if you have valuable information, resources, people are like, this is great. You know, and then Angela and I created the DEI committee, and, you know, just everything just blossomed from there.
Things started to like happen so fast, right? Like it seems like the pandemic, it sped things up. I mean, it changed so many things in the workforce, in business. Somehow there's like a time and space that doesn't exist, at least for me. You know, it's like, it just almost like it doesn't feel like it existed. I don't know, it's just like a thing that I've been thinking about, how ever since the pandemic, time it's a different concept.
Yeah, it's weird. It seems like a dream, actually, doesn't it, in a way? It's like, we did do that. I think we did go through that. Yeah. Super surreal.
So tell me a little bit about that. Like, so there was no job posting. You just kind of called Connie and just took a random, like, how did you come about that decision?
I was going to try to stay home with my 3 kids, but I'm so active. It was hard for me to stay home. I'm just not built to be a stay-at-home mom because I like to have 20 different things going on at the same time. Otherwise, I feel like I'm not really, you know, giving back or something. I just very community oriented. So when I called Connie, you know, she was like, heck, you know, again, we don't have a position for you, but just here's a little bit of a list, you know, people to call. And I just grew it. I worked really, really hard. And because that's what it takes in sales, you've got to work hard. And it's directly correlated with what you get in return. The harder you work, the more you'll get in return. And I was 100% commission, and I was driven by money and income. And so I'm like, you know, I had goals for myself that I set, and I went for it. I worked really hard. I mean, I was working weekends. I still work weekends, but, you know, I was, you know, you can't stop this train from from working. I love to work. So
I don't have a middle gear. I'm either going 100% or I'm like a couch potato. So, you know, like if I'm on the couch, I start to get depressed because I'm like, I'm not doing it. And then, but some people are like, but you have all these things going on. Like, why would you even feel like you're not doing anything? So that means that I have to be going. Do you have gears? Do I have gears? That's funny.
That is so funny. I always have this voice in my head, really, and it's the voice of my mom and my grandmother. They were businesswomen. They were successful. They were hard chargers, really driven women, and I want for them to be proud. They're no longer of this earth, but I want them to be proud of me. I feel like I'm doing this work because I want them to shine and say, gosh, Katherine, you did a great job helping others, supporting the community. You know, you've made a mark on the world. So I want to do that before I die. I want to make my mark. I want to make a difference in the lives of others. It's a deep-rooted thing I have inside me.
Yeah. Do you have a time slowing down then?
I can definitely slow down. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely slow down. Lately, I am loving naps on the weekend, so I'm a big napper lately.
All right.
So that's definitely an on-off switch. It's like, okay, 1 hour nap, going to bed.
And we were talking about, you know, like walking and running and exercising. How important is that when you're a leader? Like about your health, physical and mental, and like spiritual health, like how important do you think that is?
It's all intertwined. If you're not feeling good about yourself, you can't show up and be the best for others. That's critical, number one. So I try to run in the mornings. I love to run because it's easy. You don't have to drive to the gym. You just get up, put on clothes, walk out the door and then come back. Yeah. So I love that it doesn't take a lot of time. So I do love doing that. I love going to the gym as well. We do go to the gym regularly as well for, arm strength and things like that. But I feel like a different person after I run or after I'm in the gym. I feel like I can conquer the world. Problems are not that big for me anymore after I've exercised. It's crazy. And then just to have that, something could really be bothering you, and after the gym, it's like, I don't remember what was bothering me. Wow, look at that, So,
to me, it seems like, excuse me. To me, it seems like I go to the gym and I kind of let my thoughts just kind of flush out. I kind of just let them exist, let them go through me. It's not that I don't pay attention to them. It's just like I let them take their course. And then when you do walk out of the gym, there is a sense of like clarity or something, right? Like don't remember some of the stuff.
Exactly. And all those big problems just kind of fade away. They really do, which is amazing. And, as my dad always said, this too shall pass, and time always helps that too. But I think a lot of people have this problem. I always say it's kind of funny, but I beat myself up for a living. It's like after something, I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Or why did I not recognize that person? Or why did I wear that outfit? Or, I'm so very hypercritical about myself, super hypercritical. So I'm trying to not be. That's like something I'm trying to work on personally, because, you've got to let yourself not be perfect. I'm really hard on myself.
How often do you tell yourself that? I've been using that quote, "This shall pass."
Yes.
And there's a song by George Harrison, by the way. I don't know if you've ever heard it. It's called "This All Things Shall Pass." You'll love it. But that's key, because the type of role that you have, I'm assuming that you're dealing with hundreds of customers, hundreds of business owners, hundreds of all that, and employees and all that stuff. So what are the biggest drivers, I guess you would say, that of stress?
That's a great question for me personally.
Do you even get stressed out?
I know, I don't really. So funny. The biggest driver of stress for me would be that's a great question. Me not doing the best job I can. That seems to be like the biggest stressor for me. Yeah. And I don't get stressed out. Nope. I feel like even though I might have a mountain of things to do, because I really do, I just keep lists. So I'm super organized. I don't feel like anything is not able to be tackled. And then we have volunteers like you, Amner, and other people in the community that are always there to support and help and build ideas. And I'm not alone. I think that's why I don't get stressed out. We're with this amazing team of chamber champions, and then our volunteers are incredible, and they all care deeply about each other and the work. So it's like the weight of the world is not on me. So that's really satisfying to know. So I don't get stressed out. Yeah.
I guess one of this year for me has been very stressful.
Yeah.
But I'm learning to manage it, and I'm trying to see if there's what tips would you give somebody to handle tough situations, where they're just tough and hard decisions, or your day is going really bad. What do you advise somebody?
Wow, great question. It might depend. It might really depend upon each situation.
Okay.
Certainly. But if I had to give any advice on you're having a tough situation, tough day, I would try to take myself maybe out of the room I'm in. I know this sounds kind of wild, but drive the car, go outside, walk in nature. I feel like for me, nature is a big soother and luckily we have a beautiful backyard that's filled with giant trees and little squirrels that I love to watch, and birds and all the wildlife. I love it. It makes me laugh and giggle, and it just brightens my day. I'm like the squirrel lady, but when I'm out in nature, I just feel like all this stuff doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Like if you look at you look in the sky, you look at like we are so insignificant on this planet.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of millions and billions of people in Des Moines, Iowa. To me, it's satisfying to know, this is weird, what I do doesn't really matter. Because I am this one little tiny person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, I love the chamber and we're doing this great work and I feel like we're making big impacts, but there's billions of other people on the earth doing the same thing. So it doesn't get out of proportion for me. I feel like it's like, it's...
So don't take yourself too serious.
Yes, yeah.
It's, just remind yourself that just the fact that we're breathing, it's a miracle almost, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And we're only here for a moment in time. Yeah. I love this yardstick. My husband's a scientist, so he approaches everything from a scientific angle. But if you think of the timeline of the whole of the earth when it started, and you imagine it started right here at your shoulder.
Okay.
And then, and you've got the dinosaurs and you've got we are right here. This is how long humans have been on the planet.
Yes.
The little tippy tip of your pinky nail.
I see.
That's how long humans have been on the planet. Like we're only here for a second.
Right.
In the whole scheme of things. So it always freaks me out. But I'm like, all this stuff really doesn't matter. So let's just go for it.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. We're not here for very long, but let's just go for it.
My old boss, Bill Rain, I used to.
Oh yeah, I love Bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
He made me his operations manager, and then I think 3, 4, 5 months in, I was like, I don't think I'm your guy. I can't. And one time I came in kind of like complaining about a client. They were just being really rude and mean and, just not being nice. And then he's like, in the grand, he's like, Bill, this is a problem. And then he's like, Emner, in the grand scheme of things, how big is this problem? And I'm like, well, when you put it that way, Bill, it's not that big, I guess. So I would walk out thinking the same thing. It's like, okay, it's not that big a deal. So but that's great advice though, because sometimes we think that the world is going to end or something. Like something like, and then everything has a solution. Things shall pass.
Yeah.
And then the next day comes and then you do it all over again.
Exactly. And I kind of like drama for some reason. I don't know. I kind of like drama. I don't have time for soap operas, but I probably would love soap operas. And I like quirky things. I like when things are not the same because it always makes me laugh. Like, I have weird people calling me all the time. I mean, I have strangers calling me all the time. Yeah. And they're like, I'm on the highway right now. I'm going down Highway 80 and I need to find the closest McDonald's, and they think we're a chamber. So they think we have all the answers to all the questions on the planet, and they expect me to go, well, take exit 125B and then turn south and it'll be right there. I have like, one time somebody literally did that to me and I said, sir, I don't know where you are. And he like yelled at me. He goes, you're a chamber. Like I have the weirdest people that say that.
So they think that you guys have like the answers to.
We're like this magic, just ask the chamber a question. We know the answers to everything. It's so funny. And I just have to laugh at things like that though. Those things make me laugh so hard. And if something weird happens, I'm just like, oh my God, that's hilarious that happened. Like we had our big annual dinner on Zoom back in 2020, and we had hundreds of people online, and we got the wrong Zoom subscription by accident. So people were not able to come in by the hundreds. Like it tapped us out at like 150. We had like 300 people reserved to watch this keynote on Zoom. we're all like I'm like laughing. I'm like, this is hilarious. They're like, Katherine, I said, don't panic. It'll be fine. We will solve this. But I said, you're going to laugh at this because we're all just scrambling and we're like, and that's a moment we've never forgotten ever. It's like we solved it. We got it done. Yeah. And now we just laugh. We're like, oh my God, remember that one time on Zoom that people were able to get in because, we didn't have the right Zoom account. And oh my God, it's just so funny. Is
there some addiction to that type of chaos?
I think so, which is probably why I like chamber life.
Yeah. Yes. I was talking to somebody right in the middle when we were doing the festival, and the day of, I would just remind the team like, hey, it's already happening, so like there's nothing that's gonna stop this. So whatever happens, I'm sure it'll have a solution. So like just remember that. And then in 2019, we had our biggest year, the biggest act. We invested all the money into the stage, location, lighting. The act that we've been wanting for 3-4 years, we finally got them. We had the money for it. And then there was this storm creeping in Ankeny.
No.
And long story short, we got flooded out of the skating plaza, the Brenton Skating Plaza.
Oh my gosh.
And we had to find a location in that moment because the fire marshal was like, you guys got to go. And it was just a mess.
Oh my gosh.
And I literally remember standing, like our feet were pretty much covered with water.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of running. And I'm standing next to somebody and I'm like, there's got to be something exciting about this, right? And he's like, yeah, there's something weird about it, but it's exciting. Wait, it's exciting. Somehow in that craziness, you find a reason to be excited.
Because you're all working together. You're all trying to solve a common problem.
Yeah.
And it is exciting. It's neat to see people problem solve. And life is not ever going to be perfect. And thank God it's not, because it'd be boring. If life was perfect, it'd be so boring. I'm sorry, but so it's got to make the most of it.
Yes. So tell me a little bit let's talk about more about leadership. So like you and Anna, you said that you were the first in 2020. So building a team, developing a team, is there any like tips or any key factors that you could give on team building and assembling the right people?
That is so critical, and I can't say that I have the secret sauce on that. Okay. Quite honestly, I feel like we just got really, really lucky with the best people on the planet. I mean, there's systems out there. There's all the personality systems. There's all the line of questioning. There's all these incredible ways to make sure somebody's going to be great for that role. But I think a lot of it is luck, and we have just the greatest team members. But I do have to say, I think seeing somebody in multiple scenarios or situations before you hire them, hire slow, fire fast is always the saying, right? But seeing that person in multiple situations, how do they act? Are they comfortable? How do they interact with clients? So taking them out to lunch, to coffee, inviting them to an event, having them maybe talk to a customer, just so you can kind of see, will they enjoy this, because if they're not going to enjoy the job, then they're not going to do a great job. So I think that's mission critical, number one, because we have hired people that said they were really excited about doing the job, but then they got to the job and I said, here's your job. And they said, I don't like the job.
Yeah.
And then they weren't doing the job. And I'm like, well, you said, I told you this is the job. And then they got there and they were like, well, I don't want to do this job. I'm like, well, then we don't have another job for you. Right. So, you just have to make sure that they are going to like the job too. Because if they don't enjoy it, then they're not going to do their best work, right? They have to have a passion for others, for community, for really helping others, not just checking the boxes. And I think that's something I really care about, is hiring somebody that is not there just for a 9-to-5 and a paycheck.
Right.
Because I want somebody really to love and to help improve the lives of our business owners and our members and the community at large. And if they really innately want to do that deeply, then I'm like, oh, they've got a great chance to have a great career. So
yeah, because behind that brand or that logo or that company name, there's humans, there's a business owner, there's people that are going through it on a daily. You gave me once some tips. I don't know if you remember. I was in Austin and we did a Zoom call, and you told me I think it's 3 steps on sales. You said,
yeah.
Can you share those tips on sales?
Oh, it's just so easy. It's so easy. It's email, phone call, meet, repeat. It's just, that's all you do. You just email somebody, you phone call them, you meet with them, and you just keep repeating over. Email, phone call, meet, repeat. And maybe not in that order, so, but you have to phone call them to meet them, or you got to email them to meet them. But you need to get the meeting is number one to build a relationship. So you email, phone call, meet, repeat. That's all you do. And when you do that, you're developing a relationship because you're, maybe you said, well, Amner, I'll email you on Tuesday. And I will email you on Monday because then I've actually, I'm true to my word, but I'm a day earlier, true to my word.
I see.
I'm gonna do what I'm saying I'm gonna do, and so you build that relationship every way chance you can. You try to build that relationship, and it's very simple. But a lot of salespeople don't want to do that. Again, do they want to do that job? A lot of people are like, well, I don't like to call on the phone. Well, then maybe you don't want to be in sales.
That's not sales.
Because you got to use the phone. You got to, and in some instances you got to knock on the door, but you got to get that meeting and just
What about on the colder leads, right? So like some leads are easier, I guess, because there's, they know you or they've heard about you, but what about on the cold side? Do you have any tips for like cold sales, like cold leads? Same thing, email?
Yeah. I love cold calling. That's my favorite thing in the planet. I love to talk to strangers.
Okay.
Ask my family. I'll be like, we'll be on vacation somewhere and I'll be talking to a stranger on the street corner. They're like, oh, there's Katherine talking to the strangers. I love to talk to strangers, but I don't know why. It's just fun. But I think it's just, you've got to reach out to them somehow. And so, it's really the same thing, unless you're literally knocking on doors, which a lot of sales is not that anymore. I mean, although I get people in my neighborhood, I get people knocking on my door at home, which I admire them. I'm like, good for you for having the boldness to knock on my door at home.
Respect.
But respect. It's like, wow. But, it's really the same thing. You're just reaching out and on the phone call, just being your genuine self, showing enthusiasm, for
because
what you do.
On the first email or the first phone call, you're not selling yet, right?
No. Oh my gosh, no. You're just developing a relationship. Like, think of all the emails. I get all these emails every day.
Yes.
People trying to sell me stuff. And it's like, I get the same email now from everybody. Well, don't do the same email that everybody else is doing. Think of something different. First of all, make it really short, but I do have a couple of tips there. I say things like, I want to get your opinion on something. I'd love to come to your office. I've got some ideas I want to share. I'd love to get your opinion.
I see.
People love to give their opinions.
Yes.
They love to give their opinions.
Yeah.
So Amner, I would use that all day long.
Okay.
Just a little quick email. Hey, hey Maria, I really want to get together with you. I've got some ideas I want to share. I really want to get your opinion on them, and maybe there's some synergies between our organization. We can work together. But you're just building a relationship.
Yeah.
You're just building a relationship. So
you just make the connection, get them to know you, get them to know your story. Eventually, the sale will unfold on its own, kind of thing.
It will, and also don't start the relationship with what am I going to sell you? I mean, it's always in the back of your head because it has to be in sales. But like, what can I do to help this person? Maybe their son needs a job somewhere, and I know a lot of people, so maybe I could connect them to a job opportunity for their son. Or maybe they're on a nonprofit board and I want to donate to that nonprofit board, or find out how I can be a volunteer for that board. So try to think, I mean, LinkedIn is the gem, right? Go to LinkedIn, learn everything you can about that person before you meet with them. That's, golden rule number 1. And go to their website, golden rule number 2, that nobody ever does sometimes, which I'm like, why would you ask, tell me about your business? Well, it's on the website. Go in knowing about their business. Oh my goodness, I hate that question, but it's like, well, my
it's
website
like
says everything about,
right?
Like 101. But go on LinkedIn and find something personal about that person. Like maybe they volunteer for United Way, and you've been involved in United Way in the past, or maybe they're part of Ballet Des Moines and they like ballet. Just trying to find them on social media too. Find out what they like to do, and then be like, oh my gosh, Ballet Des Moines, did you know they're having a concert? How about if we go together? Or what? Find out what they like, and then try to do something that's synergistic. Yeah.
So then it becomes more of a relationship, and eventually it'll. And I think that's part of the. Sometimes we want things to happen quick, and often and all the time, and then we get discouraged because we don't see it. So
and my friend Gregory Roll with Legacy Bridge Private Family Office, he's the best gift giver on the planet too. Like if you have this great relationship developed, be really intentional about maybe you ship bagels in from New York because this person lived in New York for a time and commented during your conversation that, if I could just have a bagel from New York City. And then he'll do these great things like literally ship in bagels from New York to this person he just met, who he knows that's going to be a huge connection for this person in the future. Not tomorrow, but maybe 2 years down the line, or even 5 years. Like he looks so far ahead. I love that about Gregory Roll, best intentional gift giver I've ever seen in my life.
Just because they'll say they were listening.
Yes.
They were listening to me when
Take
I was
notes.
talking to them.
Yep.
I have a couple of questions about women in business and like women reaching the CEO. I guess what has been some of your hurdles to get to a role of a CEO, and what kind of advice would you give a young woman that aspires to be a CEO? Work
hard, do your best, make connections, build relationships, and do your best, absolute best work, and feel proud that you've done your best work. I've never felt that being a woman was a disadvantage to me. If anything, I felt like it was an advantage to me. Personally in my life, but everybody has a different experience, right? Everybody has certainly a different experience. But I would say just work your tail off, be very intentional. It's all those things we're talking about. So male, female, it's really interesting. I haven't had that kind of experience. I know a lot of women have, right? I mean, look at, equal pay. There's all these issues, right, in America. My personal experience is being a woman has actually been an advantage. So I felt like it. So I felt like I had opportunities that maybe other folks that were male did not. So
So, I mean, it could be just confidence too, right? Like you knew your path, you knew your career path. And then lack of confidence can also be a turnoff too, right? Or it can be a factor that may be looked at as a weakness in leadership, right? If you don't own your worth, I guess, and if you don't own what you're capable of doing, your capabilities. So
I think humility is really important. But I thought of this little phrase the other day: the best thing you can put on in the morning is confidence. That's the best thing you can put on in the morning.
Repeat that again.
The best thing you can put on in the morning is confidence.
It's confidence.
Yep. And that's why personally I like to dress up. I do my makeup. I get my hair, just perfect. That to me helps build my confidence. So anything I can do to create confidence. Some people talk to the mirror. I am the best some people talk to themselves. Whatever it is that helps you build that confidence to put that on for the day, that's the best thing you can put on, because people are also attracted to confident people. And it's not arrogance. There's a difference, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's confidence. Yeah.
Like if you look good, you feel good.
Yes.
You'll be good.
That's what I think. It works for me.
One last question. Okay, two more questions.
Okay.
What's the best advice you have ever gotten?
Oh my gosh. Wow. This is going to be hard. Best advice I've ever gotten. I'm going to have to think about that while you ask me question number 2.
Okay. What is your life motto?
Oh, I know that. That's easy.
Okay.
Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Anything worth doing?
Is worth overdoing.
Oh, okay.
I kind of like things in excess. So, like,
yes.
Once I start running, I like to run like a marathon, like I just, yeah. once I start going, it's like, oh, look out.
Yes, because if you do it and you love it and it's good and it's worth it, then why not just keep doing it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's part of success too, right? Like consistency, doing it day in, day out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way people can catch you.
Yeah. True.
Right? There's no way people can catch up with you because I don't know who said it. I think the first person that I heard say was Will Smith. I don't think I don't know if I want to give him credit for that, but he said, I know you can be smarter than me or probably even more talented than me, but you won't outwork me. You cannot outwork me. And you feel that same way?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah.
I feel that too. I'm like, I know you cannot work harder than me. There's no way you're going to do it. And even having that mentality, it makes the difference.
And just think of like all the Olympics we just had, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those people had to work really, really hard to get where they are.
Yeah.
And that's why they're where they are. They're the best, because they worked really, really hard day in, day out. They knew what it took to do it. And that's in business. You have to do the same thing if you're going to succeed. So I think my best piece of advice, and this might be from a woman perspective too, because you were asking me that earlier, is you can always say, you know what, let me think on that. Let me think on that, and I'll get back to you. Because I feel like a lot of people rush to get an answer on whatever it is somebody just presented to you. You don't have to say yes or no right there. Just, oh, okay, that's interesting. Let me think on that, and I'll get back to you. And I feel like people, and maybe women, kind of rush to an answer because they want to, okay, we're going to satisfy this answer. It's a yes or a no, but you don't have to answer right away.
Take your time.
You don't have to answer right away. Who said you have to? Yeah.
That's great advice because sometimes we say things or do things that we regret or that maybe we should have given sleep on it.
Yes. Let me sleep on that.
Let me sleep on that. Let me see.
And if they say how much time, we'll be like, well, I don't know. You don't have to give the exact answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Right at that moment.
Right at that moment. Yep. I think that's been good advice that I've gotten over the years.
Well, just to end up, I'll give you some time to talk about the West Des Moines Chamber. It's the 100th year of the West Des Moines Chamber.
Yes.
Is there any exciting things that are happening that you want to talk about? And
Nothing's exciting. Well, everything's exciting at the West Des Moines Chamber. We have 10 initiatives that we have worked on, and I can't believe it's already, almost September? It's crazy. I can't believe it's September. Makes the year go really fast when you're doing great work. But so we have 10 initiatives that we've worked on to celebrate our 100. And one of them I'm particularly proud of is we're starting a foundation, a 501c3.
Yes.
And we are actually official, although we haven't been public with it. We'll go public November 1. But we have an incredible board of trustees that is so excited about this. And it's just a way to help really strengthen our city for the next 100 years in the chamber. It'll be interesting to see where we go with that. I mean, we're a 501c6 as the chamber, but you are limited You can't really donate to us. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
We'd certainly take a donation, but you can't write it off on your taxes.
Right.
So with the C3, it's going to be really cool how we'll be able to support small businesses and our community. So I'm very excited about that. That's been a long road. So that's one of many things. I've started a new committee called Civic Connect Committee, and it's a government affairs committee to help our citizens and our small business owners, large business owners, everybody really plug into the government and how it works, how you can get involved, how you can advocate for yourself, for laws, bills you like, bills you don't like, just to get more people involved in the system and more politically involved, because it matters. And a lot of business owners don't realize how it can affect their business. And so there's so much, going on locally, nationally, right? So that's been a really fun committee, and to be part of. We bring in different politicians that talks to the group. We had Charles Grassley the other day, which is great. We have Jennifer Confirst coming in on September 27. So that's really neat. You get to meet the legislature and Congress and a lot of cool people. So. Yeah.
And all things chamber, they can go to the website, which is?
Yep, wdmchamber.org, and you'll see our 100-year logo. Just click onto that and find out all the cool things we're doing.
And register and participate and engage.
Yes.
Fun fact, I was looking at some history, and the chambers, the first one was in France in the 1500s.
Didn't know that.
And then about 100 years later was in London, 125 years later. And then in the 17th century, here in 1768, I think.
Interesting.
In New York.
Didn't even know that. I need to look this up.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Fun stuff. So
that's awesome.
Well, Katherine, thank you for bringing your energy. Thank you for all your advice. And I'm sure that people that think that they know you, they're going to know you a little bit better in a different light. After this, I didn't know that you were a ballerina, so thank you for coming, and I appreciate it. Hopefully, we can do it again. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other many, many times throughout the rest of this year.
Yes, we will.
The future. So, if you want to connect with Katherine,
drop me a line.
Drop her a line. And email, call, and meet.
Yeah, email, call, meet, and repeat. I love it. Amber, thank you.
Meet, repeat. All right.
Thank you,
Katherine.
We adore you. Thank you for being a chamber champion and involved so heavily in what we do, and just love you so much. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll see everybody next time.